Go your own way, men. Go your own way. Hello, men. I know it's been a couple of days. Let's wait on the sound check and see how that goes. Go your own way, men. Go your own way. That sounds good. Hello, men. That sounds pretty good. So we'll start this up slow today since I'm feeling slow today. And just say hello, Bobby. Hello, everybody that showed up. And hello, everybody that's going to come in. And still putting together the new system here and everything. You can see the blazing brightness of the monitor in the back and everything. And hoping that I have internet today. We are the East Coast and generally up to Ohio and down to North Carolina. Pretty much got knocked in the ass this last week with their cable and with their internet and with their electricity. So we just have to deal with this. And it was in and out. But I did notice a few things. They're trying to throttle us down, and they're asking us to, not have so many devices. And it may be that they sent me a message saying it may be the amount of devices you have in your house is why you got slow internet access and stuff like that. And it's just the same old corporate bullshit, why they're not delivering a service, and everything. But it's been an interesting week, and I finally got everything up between getting the computer working and getting cable access and downloading hundreds of hours of downloads back onto the computer and getting that stuff. It's been quite a week. So hello, Ergo Sam. Hello, Bobby Bittman. Hello, whoever's in. I don't really know yet. And today we're going to talk about Joe's paradox. If you listen to me at all, you know what Joe's paradox is. Simps don't like to be called simps. White knights don't like to be called white knights. No one likes to be called what they are. If you walk up to a thug on the street and he's thugging out on some old lady or some young boy or something, you call him a thug, he's going to get upset, not because not because of any logical reason. He just don't want to be called what he is. And sorry, that's my furnace in the background, and I'm going to have to turn that off, or that's going to screw up the whole thing. It figures when I come on, the furnace comes on. No, Joe's paradox is most people don't want to be called what they are. Corrupt politicians don't want to be called corrupt politicians. Thug police don't want to be called thug police. In Mgtow, we often get the question. Let me lock down here and look at this. We get the question, why do you Mgtows call other men simps and cucks? And that seems to be one of the problems with the blue pill world. Like, we're not allowed to call it as we see it. It's not an ad hominem when you're calling someone a simp or a cuck, or it is what it is. The truth is just the truth, and it's not a shaming. What they'll say is, oh, you guys are shaming other Mgtows. If you're a simp, if you're a cuck, if you're a white knight, and like I say, being a cuck, we're all pre-cucked. We're all pre-cucked in essence, that we all pay taxes for females. We all take care of the females in our community because sexual cryptis predetermines that she thinks everybody's the father, and the government reciprocates that thought by giving her everybody's money, little chunks. Little pieces and little chunks of every man's money goes to taking care of all the baby mamas. So if you don't think, whether it's a dime or a nickel or a dollar, we're all pre-cucked. So calling men simps and cucks is just calling men the truth sometimes. I had an interesting question today. Why is it that there's no alphas in Mgtow? And I just have to answer this. And I says, there's a lot of alphas in Mgtow. There's a lot of betas in Mgtow. There's a lot of simps in Mgtow. There's a lot of cucks in Mgtow. There's a lot of white knights running around Mgtow. Mgtow represents the total demographics of the total world. There can't be no difference between the demographics of the whole world and Mgtow. But excuse me, that's where Joe's paradox comes in. Simps don't like to be called simps. White knights don't like to be called white knights. Cucks don't like to be called cucks. No one likes to be called their true self when their true self and their nature is something that's it's a little bit taboo and a little bit abhorrent. Thugs don't like to be called thugs. If a thug is thugging on a little boy or a woman or something and you call him a thug, that's going to make him angry. Oh, I'm not a thug. He thinks he has the right to do that. Simps think they have the right to come around Mgtow and simp around, and you're not allowed to call them that. And somehow it's shaming. Now that there's a difference here. Calling somebody what they are, if someone's a thief and he walks into your house and you say, "Hey, thief, get the freak out of my house," would he say, "Oh no, man, you're shaming me. You're not allowed to ask me that"? No, that's a victim mentality. Everybody wants to. What the victim mentality is, it just pulls a little bit of. You get a position and it pulls a little position on that, and you get a little leverage on that. And that's what they do. They want a little leverage on Mgtow. And the leverage that they get in is you guys aren't allowed to call simps and simps, and you guys aren't allowed to call cucks, and you guys aren't allowed to call really deplorable men like dowfuckers and the dolly diddlers and the you're not allowed to say that. But it's not an ad hominem if you write it down and say, "Hey man, you're acting like a simp," because guess what, if it's the truth, it's not an ad hominem. You're just saying what it is. And that's all it is about a lot of these things right here in Mgtow. But Joe's paradox is it's something that we need to take a look at. And I call it Joe's paradox because I'm Joe and I articulated the problem. Men don't like to be called sometimes what they are. There's ego behind that. If they're a thief, they don't like to be called a thief. If they're a simp, they don't like to be called a simp. And that's it. The Cambodian Deviant Squad. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, a lot of things go on in Mgtows, and they kind of hold us. And what I see a lot is Mgtow going Mgtow on Mgtow. They come around and they learn the all rhetorical terms, and then they spin them and twist them against us, and somehow calling out a white knight cuck is shaming language, and that's what they say. Let me adjust this. Oh man. That's a little better. You can see the blue of my eyes. I've been meaning to buy a new camera. This 1080 camera really sucks. I bought it last year. I have a whole drawer of little webcams and I'm just going to go out this time and buy a good one and something that'll actually work and self-adjusting. But yeah, men don't like to be called what they are. If they come around and they're a little bit stupid, if you call them a little bit stupid, he's like, "Oh, that's shaming language." No, that's not shaming language. You're just saying, "Man, wise up a little bit." I see a lot of retards come around and they get in. You're not allowed to shame them, and this is the basis of all feminism too. You're not allowed to fat shame. You're not allowed to slut shame. You're not allowed to shame at all anybody. That's considered off limits. Not in Mgtow. Not in Mgtow. If you don't like something about the way I talk, if you don't like something about my face, if you don't like something about the way I project my message, for God's sake, say it if you think I'm a retard. But basically, I'm none of those things. I'm not a cuck. I'm not a simp. And I'm not a retard. That's why I do Mgtow production, because I have a certain quality as a man, and I can do this. But a lot of times we get the simps come in here, and that's where you get the simp Eli's, the cuck Eli's, and the purple pill incel guys, and the TFLers, the Hokas. There's something slightly wrong with these men. They are not the alphas. When I look around, that was the beginning of the question that I got this morning. Why are there no alphas in Mgtow? Well, I'll tell you what, genetically, I'm a genetic alpha. Um, Messenger's a genetic alpha. I know blah, 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 blah. MA was a genetic alpha. I mean, Shining is a genetic alpha. And one reason we're genetic alphas is because we were chosen by the female, whatever female that was, to have children. I've procreated 3 to 5 times in my life. I have 3 children. I might have 2 others I don't know about overseas, but but uh, but you know, we've been chosen. We were chosen as the alpha. That's the predetermining factor in mating. If you're talking about mating and you're talking about alphas, a lot of Mgtow men that come into Mgtow have children already. And that's the predetermining factor of alpha and beta and sigma and theta and whatever it is else they have. And what happens is they become the disposed alpha, which is the blah, 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 blah. I can't remember what you call the disposed alpha is the next thing for that. The disposed alpha is the, oh God, it just left my mind. But he's the omega. The disposed alpha becomes the omega, and he wanders off, and he's wondering what the fuck happened there. Well, that's what happens because of tournament mating. And if you're talking about the system of tournamenting, you're talking about the system of mating. And if you're looking at men in Mgtow and judging them up between alpha and beta and sigma and all that stuff, you have to ask certain questions about that to determine their, to determine what they are. And if you're going to ask that question and you look at a guy that's already got 3 kids and you don't think he's an alpha, well, you're an idiot. You're a total idiot. And that's what we get around here. I'm looking at the guy going, man, you're telling on yourself a little bit because you're making a judgment call. And some people think it's the alpha in the society is a position of how much monetary wealth you got. And that's the most stupid idea in the world. In any pack, in any thing, the alpha is simply the one that mates. And yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of Mgtows have already mated. And maybe they're the omega, the disposed alpha. And that's what we talk about, male disposability. These things are all very scientific if you go look at it and how they do this in the scientific world of academics. You would know these things, but a lot of these guys really, they're young, they're beta bucks and they're bucking around and they want to mate, but they can't because feminism has fucked up everything for everybody. And I feel sorry for them, and I feel bad for the incels and the TFLers. Those would be the guys in the back of the pack. They're never going to have that mating experience or that gyno. That's the dolly diddlers and those things. That will never have that kind of experience in their life because they generally never get picked. There's something in their biology that says, well, maybe he's a little bit autistic, and we see that around. Autism sticks out. When a woman looks at autism, it's one of the things that say, nope, there'll be no mating. Nope. I see that. I talk about that guy's hands with the video go on his hands and everything. That's a genetic marker that says he has a defective immune system. And that would say to a woman, if she's looking at, and I do know how women think, and she's looking to mate with the alpha male, she's looking to have the best possible children possible. And she's not going to overlook autism or a skin disease or just Down syndrome. If a woman's looking at a man, she's not going to overlook Down syndrome just because you're having a hissy fit and you're an inceller. And that's just the truth. And coming around Mgtow and whining about it is it just makes me sick. The incellers, the TFLers, the dolly diddlers, and all of them guys. Hey, I'm sorry, you'll never be picked. But in that, I'm saying don't get married, don't do that, and try to mate and have some kids if you can without going through all that stuff. And the risk is always there, and you're going to have to weigh the risk reward up, or go buy yourself a doll and do the deplorable act of a plastic phanelia. I don't really care what men do about those things. But in this whole world, when people are talking, generally they're talking about themselves, their mind. They're telling about their mind, and they're telling about how they believe the world is. I always tell my buddy, just listen. Eventually they'll tell on themselves. SFM says that too. Just listen to people. I go to parties all the time, and I go to places, and I hear women jabbering on, but women often refuse to adhere by the rule. When you're talking about yourself. You're not talking about anything else. Even if you think you're talking about someone else in the world, what you're doing is you're telling on yourself. You're telling about how you perceive people in the world, whether you're aware of things around you, whether you have an awareness of other people, and those things. Women that jabber on and jabber on and jabber on generally tell me a lot about their character. And men do this too. When they jabber on and jabber on about useless garbage, and they tell me a lot about their character. And that's what we get in Mgtow a lot. Some of these comments and everything, you're just telling me about yourself, and that's all they're really doing. You're telling on yourself. When you're talking about yourself, and that's how you should perceive the world. It shows a bit of awareness that at least what's going on within your world. But which leads back to Joe's paradox. Simps don't like to be called simps. There's some delusion that goes around in here with feminism too. Simps and feminists and white knights and all those people, they're all the same class and brand of blue pill people that they have problems with the world. So they want the world to conform to their wishes. They want the world to be a happy bunnies and puppies. And hey, did you hear that, Dougie? Happy bunnies and puppies. Dougie's pissed at me. I just gave him a bath, and he's sitting in a corner right now, like sulking like a little boy. I've been picking on him for the last hour because he wants to go outside and roll around in the mud out there, but I won't let him. And I gave him a bath. Boy, nothing pisses a dog off like giving him a bath. You can see his pathetic little ass over there. So, oh shit, rapper scatter. What's that, SFM? Hello, SFM. Hello, everybody that's listening. If you drop by today, this is my first real podcast since I got everything. I tried doing a podcast the other day, but the internet won't. I broke the internet, and I broke it all down. It seems like I did it. I broke it all down the eastern seaboard down to South Carolina. As soon as I hooked this monster up, I broke the internet, and it brought a storm in. And I just, yeah, I know. And I know the whole world revolves around you, Joe. But dog shaming. Yeah, I'm not allowed to shame Dougie because he was and that's the same thing. It's the same thing. Dougie smelled bad. I said, well, hey, Dougie, you smell like open ass and beer. Have you been in my beer cans? And he looked at me and like, no. And I was like, oh, yeah, you were in the garbage again, and you're rolling around in the garbage and in my beer cans. And he smelled like open ass. So I throw him in the thing, and he don't want me saying that. That's Joe's paradox. A smelly dog don't want to be called a smelly dog. And but it's just the truth. When you see something, you call it out, and that's it. If it's true, it's true. And if it lands on the mark, and if you hit on the mark, most people are going to be really mad about what you said, especially if you're talking about social justice warriors and simps and blue pill people. They don't want to be told that. And they come around here and they say, oh, man, somehow you guys have to get into this social justice world out there and stop saying these things. And, that's victim status. When TFLers pull the victim status on us, feminists pull the victim status on us, the blue pill guys come around. They're like, you're not allowed to call me a simp. Yes, I am. If you're acting like a simp, if you're pee-bagging, you're white knighting, and you're doing any of those things, if you can't get your mind off of that for 10 seconds while you're on the internet, then you're a simp and you're a pea-beggar, and I'll call it out, and I'll call it out every single time. Yeah, let me see that comment. Alpha is not submitting to shaman language when you know it's coming. Have a rebuttal and have a rebuttal. Call some. If you see any problems with me, I'll answer them. Say, just call it out. You don't like my face. You don't like my beard. You don't like the way I talk. Just call it out. I can assure you, I'm not retarded, and I have made it in this world at least, and I have several kids, and this it just confuses me when these guys come around here and they're really confused about themselves. They're really confused about what they are in this world. They're really confused about a lot of things, about masculinity. I mean, if you want to go rough and tumble it out in the front yard, I'm up for that shit too. Hey, let me see. Hello, dude. Solitude. Simpson blue pill cucks don't even know what those terms are. You can't call them things. They will ask you what it means. No, a simp. It's a pretty common term, and a cuck is a real common term. When you call them a simp or a cuck, I'm pretty sure they know what they are. They just don't want to internalize what they are. It's like my father used to say to my brother. He was pretty dense. He would say, like, that boy's got a hole in his head. It just goes one ear and out the other. And it was always interesting to me how some people, they want to hear what they want to hear so desperately that they put it out of their mind, and it's like they can't even hear the words when you say them, when it's something that's not very pleasant or something that they can't take. And it's selective hearing. My father used to call it. Some people have selective hearing. They're only going to hear what they want to hear. And when you call them a simp or a cuck or a white knight, them are pretty common terms in this world, in the blue pill world, especially if you're on the internet. If you should know those terms by now. And some people think simp is simpleton. I'll say it's simping ain't easy. The opposite of pimping is simping. When you're down to your knees, and maybe it's a hard, complex idea for them to understand them. That short little paragraph, But for blue pill guys, we're talking about guys that have lost 15 IQ points by being around women, and some of them don't have a lot of IQ points to begin with. They don't get what's happening around them. They don't get what's happening in the world, and they're just out there running around doing all sorts of boring acts, and they don't get it. So how can you say these guys? Yeah, basically their inability to understand, and that's what we hear a lot of around Mgtow. When I watch some of these guys talk and they do the videos and they go, well, Mgtow, you're right about this. Mgtow, you're right about this. Mgtow, you're right about this. And there's that but moment, and they go, but I don't understand. And this is the part I don't understand. And what they're really saying is they don't truly understand. They're too stupid to understand. And my answer to that is always, yes, you don't understand. Blue pills and cucks, they'll never get it. Blue pill simps, they'll never get it. You can call them at all, 100 times a day, but it's selective hearing. It goes in one ear and out the other. They don't want to hear it. And that's pretty much Joe's paradox in a nutshell. And hopefully, I'm just going to coin that Joe's paradox, because no, simps don't like to be called simps. White knights don't like to be called white knights. Thug police don't like to be called thug police, and corrupt politicians don't like them. Thugs on the street, gang thugs, don't like to be called gang thugs. They'll get mad at you if you call them. Somehow they're sweet guys with guns with selling drugs. They're just nice guys. Nobody likes to be called what they are. And that's just the way the world is. If a TFLer comes around and he starts whining on about, I can't get it, woman, and Mgtow, you guys are so mean and you guys don't say it right. Yeah, and I call him a simp. Yeah, he is a simp. And it makes me sick when these guys come around and they're whining and they're arguing with us and they're and the incels and the TLF. Thanks a lot, Reddit. You closed down the only place where they had to talk amongst themselves, and now they're you know now they're all running around all over other communities and bothering everybody. Leave that for them. That's why people have a space like that. You keep them refined in that space. We had this retard that used to work at he was a dope smoking retard, and he used to do the stupidest things. And for some reason, the boss kept him at work, and I couldn't understand why they kept him at work. And he would fall from places. He'd bust things, and one day I looked over and I understood it, and I said, "Hey, boss, thanks a lot for keeping him at that job." For years and years, for 20 years, because otherwise he'd be running around all out in the world, fucking everything up out there. You're a pretty good guy. Thanks a lot for that. That's what they did with the TFLers and the incels when they kicked them off of Reddit. Is they didn't keep them in their place where they're well confined, and now they're all running around Mgtow and they're running around PUA, and they're running around wherever they can and screwing up everything and whining why they can't get women. And it ain't Mgtow, and it ain't I don't even know, maybe the PUAs can just take them all. And now we got the alt-right that the alt-right seems to take in people of low mental capacity, and the incellers and people that are completely depressed in their lives, and it gives them functions. It gives them a function in this world, and they can believe in that alt-right garbage and be racist and whatever appeals to them. But yeah, we get a lot of that in here too, and I'm pretty sure that most of our alt-right brothers came from the libertarians too, came from the batshit crazy Tea Party movement. Was this fucking batshit crazy, and that was Sarah Buchanan and Sarah Palin. So you can see, and it just manifested it out into the world of crazy, and libertarians and what they call themselves alt-rights now, and they're basically people that with they're subject to they're easily influenced and subject to not having a lot of thought on their own. And I'll always say, not having a lot of thought on their own is a symptom of traditionalism. Traditionalism is on originality. Everything's laid out before you. Why do they call it traditional? You're doing the traditional things. You're not being a bachelor. Your traditionalites do traditional things. They let the world do their thinking. They let their world cue them down in those queuing lines where they just do what they're told and everything. And I know the way that is. I used to be that guy back when I was young. I often say I did everything I was supposed to do. I graduated from high school, went in the Army, came out, took a job with an organization, civilian contractor. I went to college. I became an electrician, got married, had 3 kids. I did everything I was supposed to do for my country, for my community, and they still fucked me over. And they still fucked me over in the end. And that's the sad part about this world, and that's the sad part about the incels and the TLFLers, because they think there's going to be some magic ending here, and no, it's all men. All men get screwed over, so get used to that in your life. You're a disposable male. You're a disposable male, and once all us disposable males start thinking like that and get that thought out of our head that somehow we're special, we can start having a party of our own, a real party that represents men. They thought they had that in Trump, but all they had is I don't know what they thought with Trump, because most of his cabinet positions have been filled with females, feminists, and God knows what. And talk about draining the swamp. He's filling the swamp with feminism. But that's another story. Let's say say hello to hello Lazarus, hello Stay and Free Mgtow, hello to the other 21 people. And I don't know if there's other podcasts going on now or anything like that. I just wanted to come in and I wanted to make sure my sound was right and get everything going today. And hello Riff Mangos, and just talk a little bit about Mgtow and talk a little bit about what we have to take around here, and the people that come around and the people that think they're Mgtow, and they're really not Mgtow. They're just simps trying to break away from their simpness, but they want to keep a little portion of that. They want to keep what they like. It's called, you want their cake and eat it too. Uh, they want to keep the little portions that they like about the blue pill world, and without and shed the portions that they don't like about the pain and the misery and the suffering of the blue pill world. And it's mostly hedonism at that point. Purple pill faggots, dude, solitaire. Yeah, and I wanted to go over there's going to be some new rules in. Sorry about that. We got an Amber Alert. Amber Alerts are funny. Amber Alerts are mostly when my wife got out of prison. The day she got out of prison, she came and she grabbed the kids from my house, and I what I did is I filed an Amber for an Amber Alert. They wouldn't file it for me, but if a husband came out of prison and he grabbed his kids from his wife's house, uh, they would have that Amber Alert out, and that's what that buzzing was. It was an Amber Alert. They would have that. It's probably if I look at it, I'll bet you it's a father that wants his kids badly, and he went and he took them, and the mom was like, "Oh, it's Saturday. You're supposed to have them, but I'll just file an Amber Alert and say that you're not supposed to have your kids." And that's what we get a lot with that. That it's a gynocentric program that they're going to send police and they're going to send sheriffs, and they're going to get the whole community looking for some guy that just wants to be with his kids. So that's the gynocentrism and the Amber Alerts. There's gynocentrism in everything. He's got gynocentrism all over. It's filthy gynocentrism all over everything. Hello, Forrest Burns. A recent study showed that men like dogs, cars, and beer. Yeah, I like dogs, cars, and beer. And women consider that the biggest challenge in marriage to pretend to be doing anal for the first time with their husband. That's probably true. I shouldn't have read that out loud, but it was funny for us. Hello, for us. So I don't know if anybody wants to come in. Does anybody want to carry this on longer and have an hour or two chat? I've been going 33 minutes on my introduction. If anybody wants to come in, let me know, and I'll send them out. I'll send out a couple of hello, Johnny. How are you, Johnny? I'll send out a couple. See if anybody wants to come in, and if the whiskey still's in. Tumbleweed says that he will be not joining us today because he's at work, but he'll be listening later. So Whiskey says hello to everybody in the chat and everybody. And let me send the three out, and 3 people that I know are in the chat. And Whiskey says hello. He's had to work today, so he says he'll be listening later, and that's why Whiskey's not around. He got to work, and we all got to work at some point in life and everything. So, oh, there's Johnny.
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Let me plug my earplugs in.
Okay.
You probably got an echo, huh?
No, I don't.
I put this big clunker. It's what got the bass unit and the 2 things, the surround sound and everything.
Okay.
And I bought the Bose because I hated this one because the Bose doesn't give feedback, but this one gives some serious feedback.
And no, those are really, really good, speaker systems. They what was his name? Chandra Bose. He was a
Was he?
Bangladeshi audio engineer.
Okay.
From pre-World War II. And he was part of the British Raj at the time, and he created a speaker and stereo system company that was eventually used in a lot of the Supermarine Spitfire airplanes and stuff. They would use that for their aeronautical contact and radio.
Oh yeah, so that
they use those tweeters and those cones and everything like that. So
yeah, the bass. I like the bass.
Oh yeah,
I really need the bass thing. That's what I got. This old one. I think it's I don't even know what it is. I think it's a Logitech or something, and it doesn't have that sound cancellation on there. The Bose. It seems like you're not going to get reverb if you keep it at a decent. Feedback.
You got to equalize it really well. Like I'm wearing those Behringers you were talking about a few weeks ago. I bought the 6000s.
The Behringer 6000. Okay.
Yeah, they're hard to get. You can get them on Sweetwater.
Oh, okay.
And they're like $60. They're so worth it. And I mean, it sounds like you're right here in my room.
Oh yeah. Good. Yeah, I want to get some of those, but I haven't bought them yet. I've been still.
They're hard to find. They're really hard to find. That level is.
Oh yeah, Behringer. They make guitar pedals and.
Behringer is really good.
I got a couple. Yeah, I got a couple of Behringer pedals, and I got a Behringer preamp.
Oh, I was looking at them because you suggested it, so I went and I said, "Well, what the hell? I'm going to get some," and I did.
Yeah, they had that preamp. That was really nice for podcasting and everything. If you want to do
they had a whole kit. They had a whole kit.
They had the whole kit. That was nice. I thought, oh man, that's a nice kit. I got to get that kit.
Oh yeah.
But it is hard to find. I just stumbled on it one day after about 40 pages on Amazon, and I was like, oh, what is that?
Yeah, you gotta dig for them too. And at the same time, it's like Behringer has like the 2000 or 3000 MX or whatever, and they're kind of clumsy and you can't plug right into it and everything like that. But the 6000s are really professional DJ mics. I'm not going to spend $500 on a pair of Sennheisers, but
or a Rode mic. Yeah, I'm going to spend $1,000 on a Rode mic. They got great sound. Rode mics have. I hear the sports commentators, and I watch a lot of sports, and I see them standing like 10 feet away from their mic, that Rode mic, and I look on there, and they got the Rode mic in a little package.
Right.
It sounds like they're right there. It's like, oh, damn, that's nice.
Yeah, well, if wishes were fishes, right?
Yeah, but they have a whole company that buys like $13,000 worth of equipment for them. No one's going to buy me $13,000 worth of equipment.
Well, we can't all be roaming millennials, so.
Does she have a Rode mic? Yeah.
I don't know what she's got, but she's bought and paid for, so who cares? Hey, staying freeze here.
Yeah, staying free. Hey, hello, stay. He bought a piece of equipment today. I was interested.
Oh, hey, what up? What up? I was just letting y'all get the little talk out the way and shit.
Yeah.
Every time y'all talk, I'll be paying attention, and every time y'all talk, I swear to God, somebody start doing a count of it, because every time they talk, audio equipment will automatically come up. I swear, it's gonna happen every single time. And Johnny's found some new equipment and he's testing it out.
We're audio eggheads.
We're eggheads, audio eggheads.
Yeah, we're trying to, it's like computer builders. They want to keep it cheap, but they want to have the best. We're trying to do the same thing with our audio.
Trav, speaking of rigs, what's the new rig you got there? That looks pretty keen.
Oh, this is the new Ryzen i5 with the. I bought the i5 with the. It's got a dated sound card in there, but I wanted the sound card for a reason, and it's got the ADM 4 units and everything in there. It's all updated. It doesn't make no buzzing sound in the back.
Right.
So So I've been kind of getting it together this week. I wanted to start on the other computer now. I have to buy a new board for that one and to put a new board in that. And I have no idea what I'm going to use it for, if I'm going to give it to my son or use it.
Well, you know what? I got an idea about what you should be doing pretty soon. You were talking about like learning C++ and doing some, back end programming and things for the interwebs. Man, how would you like to make like a Mgtow monk forum? Kind of like,
all right. See, you don't be in the private conversations enough. Cut it out. Stop what you're doing.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, SFM's working on that right now, and
you are.
Yeah, I mean, we want to have a private place for the monks and kind of stuff. And I heard what you guys were doing over, what you and Element were doing, and that's we all got to get together. And Speciation was talking to me about in what I thought would be really great to do. And Speciation had a great idea where we all take these little individual talents that we have,
right,
and then we could put if I make a little a 14-second clip that I think is really great, like Mgtow, boom, 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 with some drums in back of it, and it goes Mgtow, and it flashed out, and I do really do some good work on that.
A bombastic intro,
a bombastic intro and everything. I just put it up on a Mgtow, and it would be a Mgtow creative share place. Well, you can use that if you want.
Yeah, basically, what do they call that when you do? It's sort of like constructive creative building or something like that. I can't remember the term.
And then we all use that stuff. We all put maybe a couple here, a couple there. If over a year, I could probably do like 10 really nice things. I don't have a lot of time to work on the animation and stuff, but I did download animation, and I got 3D editing now, and I could do some 3D stuff. And you put it up.
We also have artists like Luis Nunez. He could probably help pitch in.
Right, if we can get artists and writers and guys like you and guys like me, vocal people that could do vocals better, people that sound great doing just certain thing.
There's one thing, Reneus has to proofread everything.
And Reneus has to proofread because he's Canadian. Yeah, he's like a Canadian Mountie.
It's like Arbor has to have a U in it.
No, we'd have a better place, a Mgtow forum with the Creative Commons. We can all talk, and we can be monks, and we can keep it.
And we don't have to talk about bullshit like being a dolly boy. We don't have to talk about.
And then even after some work through, well, I've already talked about this with me and Trav. Talked about this like too many goddamn times. But yeah, it's one of those things real cool. And my thing is, a lot of people think that it would take just like this mountain of effort and all this. I'm like, no, not really. I'll tell you the truth. Some guys know walking, like in any situation in life, walking in that you might end up doing a lot more shit towards a certain goal, but people are going to put there's certain things in places where you're not able to, that they'll put their pieces. Yeah. So you're looking at the outcome and not giving it. I've always looked at people in life where they walk into a situation and they say, well, if I'm doing all this and they're just doing that, I don't want to do it. Yeah, and I'm like, well, you're not paying attention to the end goal, are you? You don't want anything to get done, do you? Because you're sitting there thinking like, I need to divvy it. Well, my thing is, if you're carrying something, it's just like the whole thing about like a lot of guys, I never understood their logic, because I'm like, when they want a family, right? And then they're complaining about what the woman doesn't do. And I'm sitting here like, in your mind, didn't you know you were going to be the brunt of everything? Didn't you realize you were going to be? How did you realize what's happening?
Yeah, you know what this idea, it goes bigger out into the community too. It goes into the idea of networking, where we all start networking together. Yeah. And then the monks group becomes truly the size it is. And it's a pretty big group, but we're over here.
It's going to get bigger too.
Yeah, it'll get bigger. Yeah, we all start sharing information. We all start sharing. If somebody can really, if you write up a news report that looks really spectacular, it's really well written, and we could pump it out there in SEO and see how it, that's how the Sexodus was done. It was just a news article.
That's right. But you know what? That's how CNN was done back in 1975 when they had cable stations. Yeah. We could do the same thing too.
We could do the same thing, right? And with that, if I have a computer over here, FFM has a computer over there. You got one over there. We all start dedicating space for this thing and give a little bit of space and give a little time.
Right.
Plug it in, forget about it, hook it up to the system.
Because I can't remember the technology or exactly how that's done, but people do that. It's basically you're pooling computer resources towards something.
Towards
what's that called?
I don't remember. I read about that a long time.
I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same idea as torrents and free torrents and everything. That's what they're doing. They're using a lot of different computers out there where you just torrent the whole thing.
Well, but what do you think the internet is?
Yeah, the server. Yeah, what is the internet? It's a lot of different people that have. You know, you don't have to have like if you have a simple Creative Commons page on where there's your stuff. Here's Joe's stuff. I leave it on 24/7. Come over there, take what you want, download what you want on it. I'll add anything somebody puts in that's creative. And that'll be my little piece. That's one of the little pages. You go to the page. Johnny does his page. SFM does his. Element does his page. Lazarus does his page. Shining does his page. Before you know it, you got a pretty full website, a fully functioning website.
Yeah, you've got a lot of content and stuff that people would like to see and hear and stuff that we can share.
Yeah, you can put up content, well-made content. You can show the end result of what you're doing. I mean, that's networking, and you get a wider base. You get more SEO from it. The monk's message starts going out there, and that's a beautiful idea, Johnny. I'd like to be a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, like monk news. We could have monk news, crazy shit that's happening on in the manosphere with men about men. I'm not joking, man. We could do that kind of stuff. We could do things where you could share, like, you know, your artwork, your music,
music. Yeah.
You've got writing. I know a lot of people here are wonderful scribes. Fucking Renee can edit it. Canadian English. Everything will be great.
Yeah, that's a great idea. But in the essence of the whole thing, you know what it is? It's men working together without the tournamenting, without the, there's going to be little rifts and stuff, but we can get over that. I think Mgtow men have the ability to get over faster, have the ability to, okay, I was tournamenting. It's not a competition. It's all just, we're lending a hand. We're starting a company.
Right. Pick up the loser and he has to buy the first drink and then you go back to work. That's exactly that's how men work. That's how we are. That's how we think. It's not this kind of, dramatic bullshit where it's like, oh, she got prettier earrings than I do. I hate that bitch. And that grudge.
Yeah, and you know what else?
For years.
It might lead to some revenue streams that, hey, it'll take care of a little of your sound equipment. It'll take care of a little, if we all get together and do this, it'll become bigger. It may lead to some revenue streams.
We could have like what we're doing right now. We could have a tech talk.
Have a tech
talk. We talk about, computers. We could talk about musical equipment. We could talk about artistic equipment. He's like, hey, I cannot get my Huayan working right now. What can anybody help me with this?
Right.
Shit like that.
You mean the phone?
No. It's a graphic pen display that I'm working on. I've got it working. I'm just saying, I could not figure it out. No. Oh shit! Shiny's in here. There goes
get out of here.
Everyone behave themselves. Exactly.
The leader's here. The leader.
You guys know a boss when they see one. I was trying to log in with the Firefox ESR, the version that lets you go. It doesn't work for shit, man. I've just been trying for the last 10 minutes.
You got to do Chrome. Unfortunately, I cannot do Hangouts or log in anywhere except for Google Chrome. They are the fucking masters of the universe. I hate saying that, but it's true.
Yeah. If you want to do on their platform, they got their, it's their platform.
It's exclusivity. That's what it is. It's elitism.
It's entryism.
What? No, it's not entryism. God damn it.
Yeah, that would, that's back to the topic where, you'd get guys coming in. I want to bring in Firefox into the Google Chrome area, and the Google Chrome's going, no, wait a second, this is my area.
I've just updated my Firefox for absolutely no reason because I still can't use Hangouts on it, and it looks funny. So
funny,
I'm not happy about that at all, and I don't know what 2 applications I've installed on that they insisted that I put on. So, guys, it doesn't work. Firefox ESR does not work.
Everybody uninstall that shit now.
Yeah, forget that, man.
I used to be like a Firefox Nazi, and now I'm like, fuck Firefox.
Firefox Nazi.
Yeah.
Okay, shining light.
Yo.
Okay, I am from the depths of America. I'm a purebred Yankee, but I am going to try to guess your region of England, and I'm going to guess.
Wait a second. I've told everybody. Almost in every hangout. Everybody knows what part of the UK.
I don't know it. I'm going to have to guess. I'm at a deficit here. Okay, my guess is that you're from Birmingham. You're
you're not a Cuckney?
It's a Brummie.
I forget what somebody told me that was.
Oh yeah, shout out to Swine Dog. Good to see you, Swiney.
Hey, Swine.
I'm not staying free. Tell him what part of the UK I'm from. Both of you staying free.
I don't know.
You don't remember.
I am offended. What happened to friends? What happened to knowing each other? What happened to
sorry, I'm American, and it ain't got nothing to do with America.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, last time I doxed you, you're about 40 miles outside of London.
I'll tell you something though. The people from Yorkshire, they think they can detect a slight hint of accent from somewhere else. No, normally they do get it.
Are you from Yorkshire?
Yeah, from Yorkshire, the Shire of York.
He is a Yorkie. Well,
where the hobbits come from.
Wait. You're not a Geordie. Geordies are like north of you, right?
Geordies are from Newcastle.
Yeah, like shit. That's how she chooks. Yeah, okay. You're from Yorkshire. All right.
Newcastle, wasn't that the town where they did the survey of of whether the children were the genetic children of the fathers?
Like nobody was the dad.
It was like something astoundingly low. That it's like, oh man, the women there are just horrible.
It was a lot of women who walked in the doorknobs some days.
We have a spot in the house. There's a man from Scotland.
Scotland.
He's a redhead from Scotland. You know, did you know? Interesting trivia here. All redheads originated from Scotland. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. What?
Hey, do you think Shingles is a redhead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Shingles is a ginger.
Shingles is from Ireland.
I know. So, well,
I know. I don't.
Joe's Irish. I'm Irish.
Well, yeah, genetically we're all brothers in that sense.
True.
But I always thought that it came down from the Vikings when they came down and they hit on the upside of Ireland there, and then he had just back around the 0 year.
No, we've talked about this. I'm sorry, you're not Irish unless you speak a bit of Gaelic, and you guys don't speak Gaelic. You probably can't even do the river dance.
I can river dance.
I can river dance. I know a little bit of Gaelic, so fuck you.
There's not a drop of Irish culture in these two.
That's how you know a true elitist is in the room.
I
can start setting qualifiers for everybody.
You can send me a ukulele. I'll pick it up and just play it. That's how Irish I am.
I've got the House of Pain CD single. So there you go. I'll be right back. One moment.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh man.
Yeah. So Joe's paradox. So SL, you've been around for a while.
I've been around for a while. A little while.
All right. And so when it comes down to somebody being called what they are and having a negative reaction to it because they don't like, they know what they are. They know how they trace the exhibit the behaviors, but they don't like being identified as such.
They don't like being identified. That's what like simps and white knights and cucks. And that's what we get back, that we're not allowed to call them that. Somehow we have to taper our message back.
Here's the weird thing. So when you think about that, that means in reality, to them, it's actually shameful.
It's shameful. Yeah.
Otherwise, there'd be no care about that.
So yeah, the perception they have of that is shame. So they're carrying that shame within them, and we're just letting them know, don't do that thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's this issue of labels again, isn't it? It's like, so guys come along here, the PUA come along, the TFLs that come along, they call themselves Mgtow. They're not Mgtow whatsoever. And then when we do call them what they really are, which is PUA, TFLs, and perverts, they don't like it. It says, no, we're Mgtow, just like you. Look, you see, look at this cool group you guys have created. I'm cool too. Look, do you know what? I was looking at PUA 101's website.
Whoa, back up.
Just a second, bear with me. And all of a sudden, I understood, or I saw who he reminded me of. He reminded me of this cartoon character. You guys might have known, might have heard from him in the US. He's called Pepe Le Pew. It's like a skunk. PUA. Mgtow 101 is exactly like Pepe Le Pew. He's got his eau de toilette. He bounces around trying to check out other skunks.
Oh, the cat! He got raped by the cat.
Yeah.
Yes. And he'll have sex with anything and anyone. Just show me where the hole is, and I'll stick my dick in it. I thought, yes, Pepe Le Pew website.
Yeah, we got to make a Pepe Le Pew playing the piano.
I'm on the website right now. I couldn't even wait.
I'm gonna fucking die here. Shit. Sorry.
No, man. That is.
He's got a post on how to become a great man. And then you look on the side, it's nothing but like ads with like naked ladies.
Naked ladies, Viagra. Yeah. Just take your Cialis. Did you take your Cialis
Sex
today?
dolls.
Sex
You
dolls.
just go against
Dolly boys.
to the status quo.
That's it. That's what they're called now. They're called Dolly boys.
Dolly boys, yeah, they're dressing their dollies up in little Barbie outfits.
No, I thought it was
fucking disgusting.
I thought it was agreed we were all going to call them Barbie boys.
Barbie boys, yeah.
Barbie boys, them. Well, let's face it. I mean, the only reason why PUA 101 got any footing in here is because one of the Barbie boys give him the sponsorship, didn't he? He brought him in and he's promoted him, and then all of a sudden everyone accepted him except for the. I guess
there's something that I don't know if anybody noticed that I thought was funny as all hell, and it came to my mind when Trav was doing that stream. I was driving around, and he brought up that 101 and messaged him, and I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, if I remember correctly. Right now, 101 standing on his high ground and everything, but he actually took the money from the dollhouse, but then gave it back.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, well, hold on a second. Wait a minute. So you're such a whore. You took the money, but then when you see some issues going down with it, because it was around the time where they started with that whole it's a pedo thing, then you throw the money back. Like, I'm not like you guys. I'm not like any of you.
I'm cool. I'm cool like the Mgtows.
And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, nobody caught that moment. Nobody saw that. And apparently nobody has. They're like, his channel's gone. Oh no, the PUA Lord. And I'm just like, what is wrong with all y'all? Have y'all lost exactly what it is at all? Like, they just don't care anymore. Like, no, see, I'm a man going my own way. So me and my wife will be having a stream later on tonight, and you might be welcome to join. Just don't offend us.
If PUA 101 and Coach Eli join up, that would be an awesome channel. Would you imagine that?
Or with Bearing. Yeah. I could see them joining.
No. Coach Eli seems too much like these guys. It'd be a massacre. It was a goddamn bloodbath.
All right, well, let's go serious for a couple of minutes. For the sake of the for the Mgtow 101 fans that might be listening to your stream, because Trav, you're really attracting them now, because seeing as all the channels are shutting up left and right, up and down, they're all coming onto you now. As I've said, the burden is on your shoulders, Trav. Okay, so there's a group of guys. They want to be cool. Because let's face it, PUA is cheesy as shit, you know. You look like a complete idiot with your Pepe Le Pew tactics. So they want to come along. No, you know, we're cool like you. You know, we're cool just like you guys, just like the Mgtows and all you guys that got fucked over by divorces and all that shit. So they want to be cool, but they still want to hit it and quit it. So so they've come over here now, and they're not willing to sacrifice one for the other. So they're not willing to give up women, but they want to get away from gynocentrism. Now, do you guys not see there's a little bit of a problem here?
Yeah,
This is just not going to work, guys. That's never going to work, guys. That's the elephant in the room. My PUA comrades.
You're right. It won't work.
I realize a lot of them work on some childlike mentality. That's why I kept using that chocolate chip cookie analogy. But apparently that was too fancy for them. They didn't get it.
Well, that's why we made up the word milk, or one of the guys, I can't remember who it was, made up the word milk apple because it's contrary. It's contrary. You know, you can't be this and be this at the same time because that's contrary.
It don't make no sense.
Yeah.
You just milk apple and the hell out of everybody.
Yeah, because, well, that goes back to the entry. You're not allowed to call them that. Hey, we could be, they're special boys.
You see, they understand it. They understand it. They can see because it's quite obvious now. You don't need to even point it out. Nobody needs to say anything. I mean, the little boy knows it now. You know, this society is all focused on female worship. You know, so they're growing up, and then eventually they meet guys that you know, they meet genuine men that are trying to reclaim their independence, their individuality, their masculinity. For the first time in his life, Mgtow 101 met a masculine man when he came over to the Travcast, and he said, "You know what? I want a bit of that." So then these guys have come along, and they see these guys, and they say, "We want to be like you, but we still want to do the things that we always wanted to do." So, what's your advice to these guys, my three comrades on the panel?
They can go fuck themselves.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have the Mgtow title. Mgtow is, you know, a Mgtow when you see a Mgtow, and you can't have the title just because you think it's cool. They want to wear it like a button or a badge of honor, you know, but they didn't earn it. It's like the Boy Scouts. If you didn't earn the badge, you don't get it.
Right, exactly. It's like TFL's going on and using the Mgtow title on their channels. Okay, here's the difference between TFL and Mgtow. And Joe, you know this very well because we're both drug counselors. Or were, you know. Okay, you can be dry or you can be sober. TFL, they're dry. Their supply has been cut off. That's why they're not drinking. That's why they're not using. Mgtow, they could be surrounded by bottles of booze and Jack Daniels and beer and whatever, but they decide, I have a plan. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to indulge. I have a system that I have created in place. TFL, though, man, once one tiny little travel bottle of Jack Daniels gets in their hands, they're going to just chug a lub, you know?
You got to lose a goddamn mind.
Oh, and with that, they put everybody around them at risk. And that's the big part. They put a lot of Mgtows at risk with them kind of attitudes. It's like bringing alcohol around alcoholics.
Right.
I have to bring this up before I forget. Have you guys? Well, I know you know of him. I know Staying Free knows of him, but there's this guy called Jamie. What's his name? Jamie Purple Pill.
Yeah, Jamie, he cracks me up.
The Pepe Le Pew Jr. We'll call him.
He's just a little guy too.
He summoned around him a little purple pill group. Yeah. Now, if you watch his recent stuff, him and his groupies, they've made it their life mission to get Hoka laid. They're going to get Hoka some pussy. That's what they said. Awesome. So they're making videos now directed at Hoka. Hoka, this is what you got to do. This is how you got to approach it. Now, these guys obviously have never watched Hoka before ever in his entire life. No. You're not going to get Hoka laid.
You gotta let that go.
You know, they've literally listen. They've literally made a series of videos on how to get Hoka laid.
I've got to watch this.
Hoka, I'm going to get your pussy.
Yeah, we just take a collection of them and buy them a prostitute.
These guys have not been. I'm telling you, these guys have not been paying attention. You guys don't know Hoka if you think you're going to get him laid.
Okay, like Hoka used to smash pussy all the time. You know he did. He even says he did. I believe him.
He said it on the internet, so you know it's true.
Hey, maybe we can get him that tranny boy. Maybe like that. What's the other one? There's two of them. There's three of them.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, could you imagine Steve Hoka watching Jamie Purple Pill's videos and jotting down his advice and then applying it, implementing it?
No.
Hoka, if you're listening, please let us know what you think. Jamie Purple Pill. He's made like 20-minute videos. He's made like a series of them for Hoka to get pussy.
I can see Hoka be like, yeah, well, it's 10/25 on March 1st, 2018, and I'd really like to get some pussy. If you could get me some, that'd be great. But you know, I don't think it's gonna happen because I'm a motherfucking narcissistic psychopath with narcissistic rage. So anyway, yeah, thanks a lot. I'm gonna be mayor. Bye.
Oh man, yeah.
Jamie makes me laugh, man. He's so funny.
I gotta watch this. This sounds like internet gold.
No, him and his group. That's what they're focused. Do you know when it started? Trav, you remember last time I was on here?
Yeah.
And Hoka came on. He came on as Wild Bill something, okay. And we said to him, "This is not the place for you. This is not the place to talk about women." After that, Jamie took it upon himself. You know what? We're going to adopt Hoka as our pet project. These jokers. I love it. I love the hilarity that goes on in the manosphere.
Oh, God. Is that Incel Squad now?
Incel Squad? What?
Incel Squad.
We're going to get you some pussy. That's what we're going to do. They don't know Hoka. They don't know him.
Fuck.
They do not know that guy, I'm telling you.
Oh, God. They'll be wearing like big cowboy hats with Mgtow on it.
Look at the chat. Some guy just asked, who the fuck is Hoka?
Oh, that's metal. I don't know metal.
If you don't know who Hoka is,
Hoka is the master of the internet. That's who he is. Listen to, you know, when Hoka says TFL, you listen. You listen, my friend.
I love that.
Hoka says TFL, the headband comes off.
Yeah, I love that one video. He's going through the park and he's driving in his car and he's real calm, and then he looked over and he went, "And you guys aren't listening."
No, listen, my favorite Hoka moment is when he did that Nico Chosky impression.
The Nico Chosky.
Fake doctor Nico Chosky. I'll get you some pussy.
What?
Fake doctor. Nico is actually a doctor, by the way.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Bring this up. Did anybody here?
Nico. You know Nico personally in real life, right? You've met him. You've been around him. Nico's a real doctor, right?
Nico's a real doctor, guys.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is the way he talks. I never doubted that part. The arrogance.
I'm not saying Nico. He's a handsome man, and he probably is what he says he is. You know.
Yeah, he's not. Nico's not a liar. He might be many things. He's not a liar, but Hoka's impression of him. Let me tell you about the pussy.
Yeah, now Nico, you know what?
Tell you about the pussy.
Hoka needs Nico to be that image in his mind of this little cat on the computer, just like typing away. You know, it's like this big fat guy. You know, the meme. He needs Nico to be that to make himself feel better.
Let me tell you about the relationships.
When it comes down to that, Hoka needs to take a real reassessment of himself mentally and physically if he needs someone else to try to portray a part.
Hoka's not going to do any such thing. The guy's like 50-odd years old and he's like doing the internet videos on like.
I know 50-year-olds who are out working out, doing all types of stuff, improving themselves. What? It's never too late.
Let me tell you about the relationship. Let me tell you about the pussy.
Jesus Christ. You know, they need to reinstate that TFL Reddit so Hoka can take his ass over there.
Yeah, that was the worst thing that ever happened. Is they closed down the TFL Reddit and the Incel Reddit. It's like, wait a second, guys. We had them contained.
We just let them all. It was like that scene in Ghostbusters. Don't turn it off. Don't turn it off.
Hoka's gozer. He's
all these things. Now they're making everybody's life terrible.
Oh, these Pepe Le Pews and these these guys that want to get Hoka-laid. It's beautiful.
It's terrible. Oh, but my thing is, it's something that I heard. I haven't been able to verify it's true. Someone said that Barbarossa is actually married now.
What? What? No.
I tried to verify. I've been trying to verify. I've got nothing back yet. Which the getting nothing back is like, hold up, why all this silence now?
Well, we don't know. We can't confirm or deny it. You know.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things.
Gentlemen, we lost the best of the best.
You got a girlfriend when he was here. What the hell are you talking about?
I can invite him in. I gotta say, I got him on Hangouts.
He won't show up.
The Mgtow leader is gone. Well. Anyway, what difference would it make anyway?
None. I kept saying it when I came around. Number one, stop acting like Barbarossa is like your Jesus or something. I mean, like I remember some people was like, yeah, just make some videos or something. Well, I mean, I'm not like Barbarossa. I'm like, you don't need to be Barbarossa.
No, in the time when Barbarossa was making YouTube videos, he did a very good job making YouTube videos, and he did a good job articulating our message for us. And
he set the benchmark.
He set the benchmark, yeah, and we can't take that away.
And then I came along and I blew it away. That's why.
There you go, Shiny.
Who did that to him? Who? He was fine, and then Nico went over there, and now son Barbarossa.
Nico fucked up Barbarossa.
Oh my God! We want our Barbarossa back.
Nico fucked up.
He broke Barbarossa.
He told him about the relationships. He told him about the pussy. And he wrecked Barbarossa.
He wrecked her Barbarossa.
Wrecked Barbarossa.
Oh my God. To be honest,
oh shit.
To be honest, it was about that time when it did go downhill for Barbarossa and what's his name, Stardust. It did start going downhill for them.
It's not around the time everybody started talking about, hey, you know, you can go your own way, avoid got no censorism, and be banging these chicks out here. It's perfect, believe me, it makes perfect sense because it's one of those things where, in fact, you're having a dual meaning that validates both sides because you're going your own way, so you're not marrying them or nothing.
Yeah. I could swear that on Mike's channel, Mgtow or something, that he did a recent Barbarossa clip, and Barbarossa was talking exactly like Barbarossa talked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it does bring up an interesting point. I mean, some guys, they're Mgtow for a short period.
Yeah.
And then they can't cope with it, so they go back to old routines. They go back to, as you say, the mating rituals. They do the African dance, as Staying Free likes to put it, and back on the plantation, as they say.
You know what? My 8-year Mgtow anniversary comes up in 1 month.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 fucking years. I'm proud of it. Love it. Yeah, and I'm not proud enough to be too proud. I'm just saying.
Proud enough to be too proud. Yeah. You gotta
okay, but the point is, for guys like us, for the guys listening, is you know what, and I said this ages ago, and it's a very good question all guys should ask themselves that are on this path. What would it take to get you back to the old Pepe Le Pew lifestyle? You know, what would sell you back?
What would take me back?
It would take the most elaborate lying ass rules. Because hey, no, I'm not gonna sit there. Well, hey, look, it'll be safe because she's different. You're lying. Well, hey,
yeah.
Because it does happen. It does happen. I mean, some guys that were here a few years ago. I mean, all that happened. And it happened on YouTube. The most ironic thing that these Mgtow channels, they started Mgtow, they started making Mgtow videos, and then some girl on YouTube got in contact with them, and all of a sudden they're not making, you know, they're changing their tone. They're saying that you guys all hate women, and I can get laid if I want to. And by the way, this is my girlfriend.
Yeah, Hairless Ape and Anya, they met on YouTube, and all of a sudden,
oh, the backstory. I swear, if you can get the backstory to that, it's so hilarious.
some guys, some guys, it just takes a bit of female attention, and all of a sudden, you know,
right now.
You gotta feel that beat.
And also, I want to pose something to Hopeless, because are you ashamed because of your actions, or are you ashamed because you failed?
Unicorn around.
All will be revealed. All will be revealed.
Yeah, you know what? He's ashamed because we were right.
Exactly. That's also the fail part. Like, what did you think you were gonna do? What did you think was gonna happen? I keep loving it when you see people. They'll say this, they'll sound like they're making sense out loud, but then again, I say pay attention to the actions. Pay attention to those behavioral switches that happen in different companies. You'll start noticing something. I notice it all the time with those guys. They swear up and down, man, hey, you know, I ain't submitting to no woman, nothing like that. But then a woman comes around, tone changes, body language change, everything, inflection, all that immediately. And I'm like, yeah, you're submitting. You're about to submit real fast.
Yeah, so some guys are sold cheap. I mean, I dislike to use names, but I think he's one of the best examples we have. I mean, when TFM started, he was a wonderful. It was a fantastic asset to the circle of Mgtow videos.
He was absolutely.
His first 10 videos were absolutely amazing. Tribal, the matrix of tribal identity. He started adding to all the discussions that we had. He was a wonderful asset, but now maybe, you know, not so much. No,
because I've explained this before, and I swear up and down, I wish the next person who says that somehow they're like just invulnerable to this effect, I'm gonna smack the hell out of it. Yeah, the thing is, it comes down when you start whoring, when you literally look at your livelihood and everything, and that starts depending upon basically your acceptance by popular opinion of whatever your audience is. You will never become a whore, as in you will start swaying what you're saying. You will start making things go into a different route that literally contradicts everything you were talking about before.
Even if you're demonetized, they want the approval.
They want the money. That's why I say whoring. Yeah. They're out there
selling dicks and even without the money.
Of how much?
All right, guys. I'm going to say something controversial. I'm going to stick my neck out here.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, get ready. It seems every man has his price.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those who don't have a price, they're willing to die for not being bought.
Yeah, exactly. Now, for some guys, their price is higher than others. So, you know, don't answer me, guys. This is a question you should seriously ask yourself.
Ask it, though.
What is your price?
Oh, shit.
What would it cost for you to sell out your principles, your morals?
Nobody could give it to me, actually. It's not in the realm of possibilities for them to be able to give me what it would take for me to put on a facade and bullshit.
Tupac rapper money.
There's going to be a record label hunting Trav now.
Yeah.
We heard the price.
We heard the price. Yeah, you can come get Trav rap. That's light Irish rap.
Light Irish.
He's got a little bit of a jazz backing.
With a little bit of a jazz back, yes.
Yeah, it's easy listening. My own theme park.
Theme park.
Really? That's kind of cheap.
You get a pair of pants.
You basically just said, turn me into a business and a brand. Turn me into a brand and a business.
Turn me into Disney.
I'll say whatever you want. I'll say whatever you want.
Guys, once you're here long enough, you see it, don't you? You see guys that came in, they sounded sincere, they sounded genuine. And then down the line, I mean, for some guys, it was just a matter of getting a little bit of female attention. And all of a sudden, you see them flirting, you see them changing their tone. For some guys, it was a relationship. For some guys, it was money. It was like, more money.
Yeah, it depends where you come from in life, I guess.
I want to know about a lot of guys with their simpishness. How low is your self-esteem and standards that a little bit of female attention makes you turn into a complete whorish dumbass?
Yeah, for some guys, the TFL, the guys in the incel guys, another immediate, maybe a 6 or 7 woman walks by, they would leave Mgtow in a second. For some guys, it would be Tupac money.
Here's the thing.
That's true.
They're not really thinking. They really have no self-control. They haven't really been trying to discipline themselves at all.
Yeah, they have no self-control. That's the problem. That's what we say all the time. Guys, get that under control. Have a little dignity. Have a little etiquette, and that will build in your life, and it'll build real character in you.
Well, Joe, I mean, You got to get challenged. You have to be challenged by that. And I have been. Element has been, and we said no. And Esoteric Lectures, our channel, has kept that going as it does, and we are not going to let female approval warp our mission statement. And you're not going to do it either. I mean, Trav, you've had women come to this channel, and they like you, and they do, and he says, I'm not going to veer from the mission statement. You got to take your mission statement, and you have to abide by it. That's it.
And just to give myself a little validation, it's cool if you need to take a break and, sort some things out. Just make sure you get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I don't mean a break as in you're going back to fucking land to skip around and shit.
He's had 2 kids since his last video, SFM.
2 kids.
Now he's back.
I had to get it out of my system. Like, no.
I had to get it out of my system.
Oh God, that'd be horrible. Yeah, some baby mama busts through the door here and starts yelling at me during.
Did you read Messenger's comment? It was beautiful. He says once the sperm leaves the penis, it's in the hands of fate after that.
Yeah,
right. It's true.
There's no goddamn fate. It's in the hands of the woman. What are y'all talking about? Jesus, don't do that. Don't. Oh, this is missing.
Well, the woman is the hand of fate.
I said you saw it, and see, he trying to neglected to read my comments after that.
I neglected it
on purpose. You neglected it on purpose.
90%.
That's some shameful shit.
Seriously, right from not knowing. Not knowing what part of the UK I'm from. Now we're even.
I didn't want to mess it up. I wanted to say North Yorkshire, but I was probably gonna screw the name up, so I was like, I don't know.
You would have won some points.
Or I could have said South and then had Paul Wilson just show up out of nowhere.
Yeah, you ain't a Scot.
I still have no clue what the hell's being said when him and IPG were arguing.
Oh God,
the weirdest conversation to sit there and be like, I lost control of this whole situation. I have no clue what's going on.
Something about
something. What place are they talking about?
Yeah, that's funny.
It's like watching the beginning of a fantasy movie where they just start listing off these different areas and all this different criteria and shit that you got no clue that they'll just explain later. You're just a little confused and shit, and you just want everything to speed up.
Paul Wilson is funny. You Irish guys are gonna come over and impregnate our women.
These are the immigrants.
Yeah, you immigrant.
Angela Merkel and the immigrant Irish.
Okay, so a blue pill, and I was telling them what happened because I think a lot of people, and my thing is, I was talking last night with I think was RP, and talking about how divisive strategies work very well. You can see them work in real life. Like basically, everyone's busy battling, arguing at each other, and people are getting away with heinous shit. Like a lot of people didn't get. My thing is, when you stop having babies, again, I keep trying to tell people, they don't care what color babies you have. They don't care as long as there's more babies. They let in like a couple million people. Then after that was like, we're just going to close this up because we've had a change of mind. No, you didn't. You knew exactly what you was doing.
No, it's some scary shit out there. The shit that just from what I observe, looking at the amount. I'm not even exaggerating the amount of single mothers there. I go out shopping. I use public transport now since I got rid of the car. Well, and just the amount of single mothers, it is crazy. And they've got like different colored kids. So obviously they're having like 3, 4, 5 kids with like 3 or 4 or 5 different men. But it's like an epidemic, and nobody gives a shit.
Welcome to America.
In my job, we have so many pregnant women. In the cubes, and they'll have their babies, and I'll never see them again, which is fine. But I'm just saying.
Oh, my thing is, I always wonder when is it gonna time to come home to roost of all these things that are basically being enabled, perpetuated, incentivized that are extremely destructive to the fabric of our society. And my thing is, the roosting is actually coming a lot quicker because you got to remember how quickly this has been going on for a while. It's just been building up more and more, and it's more.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm like, well, my thing is, the cycle's gonna keep going faster and faster. This thing is off the tracks. It's going, and it's got an auto cold feeder in there. It's just automatically.
Well, it's like cogs in a screw. They keep getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and the frequency gets, lesser and lesser. And then next thing you know, it's a pandemic all over the world. Yeah, and my thing is, a lot of people keep thinking war is going to be the answer. I'm like, war's not going to help anything. You must be your goddamn mind. This is too far, because my thing is, a lot of the mindsets and everything that are going on, there's an issue. Once they'll start spreading, you don't get to stamp out each one like some individual brush fire that you send a bunch of teams to. It don't work like that. It works like a goddamn virus. Mm-hmm. You don't know where it got. You don't know who let it out somewhere else. You don't know where they spreaded it. Whatever, legend. And
Renee is really going to get on you for that.
So, you got to understand, if you have to start from the core and then work without. That's the only thing you can do. And within Mgtow, a lot of guys need to understand we're starting at the core. It's us. I don't know if anybody heard Trav's stream. We were talking about the basically gynocentrism and a little bit of understanding of that. Do you realize that gynocentrism is mainly enacted by dudes?
Right.
It is. Absolutely. We are guilty of it. But
females is literally just in-group bias. Like, they're just like, I want to be treated like that bitch, so don't treat her wrong.
Well, they're carried like the wind, But like what Trav was talking about, when you're about to fall asleep at night and you're getting, ready for bed and everything, think about and focus on things that do not revolve around women. You don't have to lucid dream or anything like that. I can do it. Trav can do it. Element can do it. But what you need to do is think about, what am I going to do tomorrow that improves me? What do I like to do? What am I going to, one up myself on? How am I going to compete with myself? Yeah. And you got to think about those types of issues. You don't have to think about like, oh, if I draw this comic book really good tomorrow, this bitch will like me.
That's a fruitless endeavor.
Right, exactly. You're going to have to say, I am going to make this because I'm going to make my current project better than it was yesterday. And that's it. That's it. You got to focus on the nuts and bolts of what you're doing.
All right. Here's a different way to put that. So within life, you have to understand, as I tell you, you lose everything is lost. You might as well give up attachment, right? That's bullcrap. In fact, the things that they're not really saying in that statement is that you need to understand that what follows you is you. So the things you do to benefit yourself, like literally, I started thinking about more of my studying and how much money I was going to start spending on equipment, and stuff like that. And you know what I told myself? I'm like, because a lot of people don't spend them. I'm like, well, no, here's the thing. I'm investing in myself. So I'm going to spend as much as I see necessary to do that. And I'm going to keep going forward with that. And the thing is, you have to understand, a lot of those external things like validation from another company, from another, things like that, those can be taken away easily. But here's the thing, unless you're dead, they're not taking away yourself, your experiences in your brain. So you need to focus on literally conditioning and bringing up and,
your skills and knowledge.
Right. Yeah. I always say Mgtow stocks are high. Mgtow stocks are up. Invest in yourself. There's that down the road. Them will be the payoff. Them are going to be the dividends you get.
Right.
And a simple way to put another thing is those women don't want you to invest in yourself. They want you to invest in them.
Invent them. Yeah.
So try splitting all the money and all the effort and time you're going to put in yourself. And then after that, take another 20% and put it towards that woman. So that's what you have left for you. And then all that goes towards her. And Lord forbid you have kids with her. Because then guess what? They get to take off another 15%. Bam. So then everything left for you is to be autopilot, work, and them.
And if time is money, say goodbye to time.
You might already say goodbye to your money because you ain't getting no money.
Right.
You can make $80,000 a year, right? You got a family, you're not making $80,000. In reality, you probably gonna have little, like barely even 10 to yourself.
Yeah,
everything goes towards you facilitating that family. And then you got to remember taxes, all that too. Like, come on, man. It's just common sense. And a lot of these guys don't seem to get it. They want to play this game where I'm going to run up, hit it. I got a condom. I'm cool. Number one, I've been looking into the herpes. All right. It's bad. It's real bad. It's getting real bad. And they're trying to normalize having herpes like it's not a big deal. I'm like, no, it is a huge deal. So they're not telling you some of the really, really bad side effects you can have from that. And also the simple fact that you shouldn't have that. That's not normal. It's not part of the. We're not going the way of the koalas where everybody's got chlamydia and we cool with it. It's not a thing. A lot of these guys don't get it. They swear up and down a condom, saying everything. And just like if you scroll up and you'll see, me and Messenger were typing about that subject. Yeah, there's a reason. If you notice, guess what? You're not the one choosing whether she gets pregnant or not. You never. A lot of guys don't think about that for some reason. And here's another thing: sex is mating. It's literally the act. Why do you think there's all these relationship rituals? There's all towards mating. So you can have a child, so you can do the act of mating, which is made for getting her pregnant. The thing is, she's the one who's going to decide. A lot of guys are like, no, I just wear a condom. Okay. So how many of you guys wore condoms and all of a sudden you got kids now? Tell me how that worked out. How many of you guys wore condoms, all of a sudden you got STDs now? Tell me how that worked out. Because apparently there's some missteps and misconnections in a lot of your logical thinking that a lot of these guys, they don't want to talk about that. Because then it would expose to the fact that you want your cookie and eat it too with your dumb ass. Cut it out.
Yeah, the average, the average, everybody, it's been in the average length of being with a female and having a baby is 2 years. If you're with a female for 2 years, you're gonna have a baby, and that's just the truth of it. And you can try your hardest not to. You can say you're using condoms, but we know, man. You know, after a while, it always reverts to that. Oh, she's so safe. She's the know-all. She's this. You know, no, she's gonna get pregnant. She may have disease. She may be screwing somebody else. She may bring in something to the relationship. Yeah, them things happen. But these guys pretend, and that's the thing that bothers me about PUA is they'll sit there and pretend like that doesn't happen. Like, oh no, we're
out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, 100% surefire. No, it's going to happen. Percentages say it's going to happen. If you're screwing around with the women, that eventually she's going to get pregnant. You may bring home some kind of disease. It's going to happen.
And don't pay attention to the misdirect, because I'll be reading those CDC reports, Trav. You can see when I'll be posting all that stuff, and I keep looking around, and I always want to see, when do they misdirect it? When are they going to take it off of women and put it on men? And they do it. They'll do it at first. They'll be like this, and then they'll talk about the Mgtow disease and all that stuff. But then they'll immediately switch, like, yeah, men this, men that. But when you look at the percentage of disease carriers, it's not men.
Right, yeah.
That should tell you something. Hell, you learned it in health class. There used to be commercials, probably about a good 10 or so years ago, that would tell you, hey, you and your partner should get checked before doing anything. Right. Y'all both need to know if you're clean.
That's common sense.
But no, that's out the window. They don't do that anymore.
Right, yeah. I hate that guy. What's that one guy who says, oh, it's just a bunch of little red bumps? I mean,
that is not.
Yeah. They
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was Pepe Le Pew 101, wasn't it?
Oh, I got to do a Pepe Le Pew playing the piano. And some girl dancing in the background.
Yeah, it's a lot of weak men, or a lot of these guys have not grown up. You know, they're like 30, 40. Some of them are going on to 50, and they're just like little kids. You know, if it feels good, I'll do it. You know, who the fuck are you to tell me? It's
my thing is, it's like I talk about my father sometimes. I try not to, and my thing is, it was somebody noticing that I talked to him in a certain manner. It was like, well, yeah, because it seems like I have to talk to him like I'm his goddamn dad or his older brother. He doesn't seem to get it. He's still making mass mistakes.
That's how you talk to everybody.
And then stop fucking up, but I won't have to.
I'll tell you something else that I've noticed, that, and as you guys can see, I've been studying the PUAs this week. But another thing I've noticed about these PUAs is they're almost always, and almost without, I've yet to find the exception to this, they're almost always from single mothers. Every single PUA I know did not know his biological father. They're all from single mothers.
Man, my dad was fucking awesome. I love that guy. I mean, he really, really, you know, contributed to America. But you know, he was a person that was able to take his abilities and maximize them in the few 51 years that he got to live. But like, you know, some of these guys do have fathers that are totally absent.
Well, we know the figures. I mean, the child that's brought up without the father figure is more likely to suffer from depression, more likely to end up in prison, more likely to be on drugs. And I would say, if you look at a lot of the shit that's going down now, I mean, I think there'll be a correlation. You know, a lot of the problems that the kids are having. I know over in the US, there's a mass school shooting. I would say that. You know, I would say this is an indication of the fucked up society that comes about from the destruction of men. We're now a society without men.
Yeah, well, that's been going in the works, and see, that's why I got a little annoyed when you hear some of those people who are leaning towards the alt-right, and they like, you see this black community, and it especially affects the blacks. I'm like, you're an idiot. Apparently, you don't know logical reasoning. Right. So if it's happening here, and that means it's also happening here from the same stuff that was being spread, then guess what? You're going to have to deal with that too. That means it's basically it's a deteriorating effect. That means it's going to spread and it's going everywhere. They're not focusing on one group. They're focusing on every human because, hey, guess what, idiot? Everybody doesn't have to focus on race because we're all humans. And guess what? What they did to this group of humans, who you swear up and down are a different category because they look different. You're human too.
No, these racists, they co-opt the message. You know, these guys are irrelevant. You know, they've got no truths. They've got
they're all trying to infect Mgtow. You know,
yeah, they're losers. Let's be honest. They're losers because they can't just grasp the simple, basic concepts. They have to throw something in there to muddy the waters, to break the logic, so they can have that special feeling and that special group that's impervious or will somehow show a difference in behavior. Even though all humans show those same behavioral traits.
Exactly.
No, fuck those guys. The fact is, the fact is, our society has lost the male role model. They've lost the father. They've lost the true concept of masculinity. They don't know what the fuck honor is. They don't know what the fuck male principles are. And it's fucked up society. Let's face it, society is fucked because of it, not because of immigration or because of welfare or because of gun control or lack of gun control. The fact is,
shining. I mean, you need a father because a father helps a man or a daughter, you know, as a son or a daughter, navigate this world when, you know, they're toddlers onward. And I don't like using the word tough love, but sometimes tough love is what
guidance.
Yeah, it's just called guidance. Thank you.
They use tough love actually in a way to slight males.
Right. To make
you know how quickly see how that word usage spreads to everyone.
Right. No, it's called guidance. You're right. We're talking about guidance, navigation. The world is a big place, and it's as big as you're going to want it to be. And you're going to have to learn a lot of many lessons in order to navigate this world. And that's where the father comes in.
True. And the thing is, a lot of people don't understand is the moment you don't have to go to your father for help, he's not mad at you. He's happy. That means he did his job right. That's how that goes.
I wouldn't call it tough love. I just think that a man is better than a woman. I think a man's smarter, stronger, more resourceful. He's a much larger human asset. He's a much larger human resource than a woman. Yeah, women have their duties, but it's not as much as the men. You know, the men, and even today, and even in this kind of centric world, man still has the brunt of the burden. You know, there's more taxes levied on men. You know, men pay more the taxes. Men go into more of the services.
Shining, the family of without a father that is ruled by a mother and nothing but a mother is going to be chaos. And it's going to develop into further chaos. Guaranteed. Always.
I mean, society must see this. You know, people must see. I mean, not only in the statistics, but all around them. You know, their neighbors, at work, family members. You must see that this death of the male, death of the father, is causing a destruction of our society. There's nothing else for it. You know, there's no bigger contribution to the death of our society than the destruction of the male role model.
Well, let's also talk about what society is doing to further the destruction by basically barring men from being role models, period, or even being in their children's lives. See, it's a very disgusting thing. And that's why I say when people say they want a solution, and I look around and I say, no, they don't. They don't want a solution because in reality, what it takes to get that, they're not willing to do it. Because what they want is they want someone to fix it while everything seems unchanged. That's not possible.
You see, it's worrying because it appears that it's not going to stop until the society goes down. I mean, we all know that gynecentrism is like a fire. It's supported by the three elements, which is men, women, and government. You need those three things to support gynecentrism. I mean, if all men cut away, if all men decide, you know what, we're not going to simp anymore, we're not going to contribute to this gynocentric bullshit, we're withdrawing our semen, we're withdrawing our utility, fuck all that, there'll be no gynocentrism, we'll be dead. You know, if government decided, okay, we're going to retract all these laws, we're going to make whatever men earn they can keep, we're going to make sure that all children get to have a good upbringing with their fathers included in their lives. I think a lot of our symptoms of the corruption of our society would disappear. And same with women. If women stop this false allegation bullshit, this Me Too bullshit, this all men are rapists, all men need to be castrated at birth. You know, we need to focus on, you know, this feminist bullshit. You know what I'm talking about? It would disappear. All three.
I never focus on the woman part because in reality, women are going to do what benefits them. They don't care. And they're going to look at the whole thing that no matter what they do, men need to step up for them no matter how bad they screw up. So in reality, I always like to focus on the male aspects of it. And a lot of times we need to really focus on, and I'd like to say this, thanks Trav, SL, MR, because they've talked about so many things. If you pay attention to the male discussion that is going on, that is Mgtow, you'll notice that all these things are contributing factors into the issues that are going on right now, the problems that are going on right now, the degradation of just our complete surrounding environment, lives, and our species. And yet so many people try to ignore that and say, well, you know, if it's all going to hell, I'm just going to go ahead and hedonism out. I'm going to just do whatever I want, get as much pleasure as I can before I go. That is the dumbest mentality you can have in your life.
You see, I like Metal's comment there. He says the spirit of men is in decline, and I think this is an area where we can help, because one of the major, I mean, we can see it all around. Everybody knows there's a problem. Everybody can see it. It's destructive. You know, society's going to. Everybody knows, but we as men, we're not trying to change government. You know, we're not trying to change women. We've gone past that now. We're just focusing number one on ourselves and helping any men that want to listen. But the biggest weakness is the motivation. You know, men are down, men are depressed, men have got PTSD, men have got you know, cognitive dissonance. They've got all these mental barriers and emotional barriers. And a lot of guys, you know, they come around here totally fucked. You know, they haven't seen their kids, they miss their kids. You know, their heart is broken, their soul and their spirit is broken. And one of the things we can help. And if you guys had watched our earlier videos, if you guys keep track of our videos, this is exactly the things we talk about. We're trying to keep men motivated. We're trying to keep men on the path, keep men strong. You know, return their sovereignty to them, return their spirit to them, and imbue their soul with whatever we can. I think that's where we do excel, where all other organizations, private and government, have failed or just don't engage in this.
They're not doing. See, my thing is they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They just want to build up their slave. They just want you operational. You can be operational at 70%. They're like, that's good enough. Send them back out. Well, I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you at all. I want you to be able to navigate this goddamn globe, navigate your life, understand the people around you, the risks, the dangers, all that. And I want you to do it for yourself. I don't want nothing from you. And you should be wary of people who seem to have that a little underlying thing where, yeah, you don't have to put in much. And I'm going to give you a lot. No, I don't want you to put in anything to me. I want you to put it into yourself.
Right. And you know what? You need to find that goal and focus on that. And I know that sounds like Coach Eli shit, but seriously, you know, what we were talking about with Traversable, making a website that was monk focused, a forum that we could speak and share our designs and our desires and get that kind of thing happening. Well, we can contribute to that, and we can not stop at 70%, but we could, you know, keep going to 110% of our efforts because we don't have women in our lives.
It's not even that point. It's just that we understand exactly what it is.
Right.
We've done the hard. Like my thing is, because I was going to do a stream today talking about, and I was going to call it basically when the dust settles, when the internal conflict really gets to the point where there can only be one winner. There can only be one side that walks out. When a lot of the conflict that was happening within your own mind and your psyche, when that battle really gets done and you're back in control and you see it for what it is and you know what it is, you've made the decisions, you're no longer conflicting with yourself. That feeling, it's not, I wouldn't call it Zen. I wouldn't call it anything like that, but it's more of a better line that you've put, a better stance that you have. And it's a better place to move on from. And no, I'm not saying it's a new beginning because no, everything is still there. But my thing is you have a better understanding and you literally put down a bold line on what it is.
And you're a better version of you. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. So my thing is there's no reason to go ahead and get discouraged or to feel like, you know, because I was reading this article because SL asked me a question one time and I couldn't answer it. He said how society views abstinent men. I couldn't answer. I literally couldn't answer. I know that seems dumb, right? And then so I had to do a little looking into it myself. And, you know, the more I notice, and I'm just like, oh, crap. Wait a minute. What? I'm like, yeah, duh, dummy. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And it's weird because you're like, wait a minute, you've been talking about this stuff this long and all this, and it never really hits you. Like there's even blue pill dudes out there. They're like, I'm just going to go abstinence and the crap they deal with and all the things. And my thing is they're still having disconnects and all this and not seeing it for what it really is. And after a while, you wonder like, all right, so they're starting little blogs and doing all this, but do they really know what it is? Do they even know why they might have even came to that conclusion of a decision?
Right.
Misinformation is at an all-time high. When I say all-time high, all-time high. Anytime I talk to somebody and they want to do that conspiracy theory crap and all that, I shut them down. I don't want to hear it. Leave me be. Or if they want to keep begging the question, then yeah, I put them into place. Quite simple. Because my thing is, hey, don't risk, you know, your blue pill existence with, you know, your work and stuff like that. But at the same time, sometimes I put it like this. I'm not going to just go and interrupt somebody's conversation to give them information. But when you keep asking me a question and you keep asking and asking and asking and you want to know, fine, I'll give it to you. Give you all the information you want. You sure you want it? Because here's the thing. I'm going to start seeing a look on your face. That look that I'm going to see is one that literally you're starting to think, aren't you? You're noticing something. You don't like it, do you? You shouldn't have asked. I just gave you a gift you never asked for. That's on you. You should have shut up and gone about your way.
Right, guys, I'm off. But before I go, I must read out Hugger's last comment. This is absolutely essential. You guys must remember this, that there's more misinformation out there than there are truths. So remember, guys, as Hugger says, the web is crawling with disinformation and misinformation. And there's a lot of guys selling that because misinformation sells. I mean, Pepe Le Pew 101 has proved it. You know, it's selling a really philosophy, and people are buying it. So, but anyway, it was a pleasure joining you guys. Hopefully, we'll talk again. But yeah, peace to all the guys in the chat room, and we'll speak again. Hopefully.
See ya, shining from Yorkshire. Bye.
That was simping light, everybody.
Oh.
I had to get it back.
You coming at me, bro? You coming? Yeah, Friday night Fight Club. Shining. Oh man.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go too. Thank you very much. See you later, SFM. See you later, Joe. Thanks a lot for having me here.
Yeah, thanks a lot for jumping in there, John.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. It's always great to have you on here.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
It was a good stream.
Good stream, good discussion. And with that, it's probably time to close down. We've been going a little over 2 hours, I think. It's a good time to close it down. Yeah, I was going to give you like the question about how society views men of abstinence or asexuals, and what we're talking about is asexuals is really terrible. I'll put it in a low bar. I usually keep an article up on my blog or my G Plus right at the top, and then it talks about that subject, and it talks in depth about how society, we get it from both sides. We get sexually harassed much more than females will ever get sexually harassed, because it's always inundating us. It's from the signs to the people at the blue pill people at work and everything, always talking about that, and they don't realize that they are sexually harassing us. And that's when you come from an asexual point of view, you realize the Me Too movement is such hypocrisy, because women sexually harass men of asexual status, like monks and everything, and we get it all the time, and we're the most discriminated group out there. And with that, you think it's time to shut it down?
Time to shut it down.
Time to shut it down. And like always, guys, I say the same thing every time. It's not Mgtow's all about the brotherhood, coming around here, the men that come around here. It's all about you. Without you, there'd be no Mgtow. Without all the, the followers and the guys that, come to watch the cast and everything. And I appreciate you so much, because without Mgtow, I would be out there screaming into the wind, trying to hold back the waters of life, and getting worn down, and no one would hear. And that's what Mgtow's about. Mgtow's about you, Mgtow. Thanks a lot.